Hey, here I am. I'm not going to tell you who I am right now, but I have a story about smuggling a missile guidance system from the United States through Canada to China. Stay tuned.
Bragger, this is the truck and tanker yanker. I'm 10-8 with my 10 in the wind. My heaters are glowing, my manners are showing. Wind her up, let her go, come on. I'm your travel agent with a story to tell. Let's go for a ride.
All right. You know who I am. I can't divulge out loud who I am, all right? And the reason why is because I got to tell you about my driver that was working for me that got arrested at the border by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency for hauling a missile guidance system to China. That's what it said on the paperwork. Now, you got to be careful who I tell this to, and that's why I'm incognito here, is because I don't want I don't want repercussions. Let's just put it that way, all right? Well, it was like 1998, and I had a truck that was going north from the United States, an air freight truck, and we had a regular route hauling air freight, and we hauled it to Vancouver, British Columbia. Most people know it as Vancouver, British Columbia, but it was actually Richmond, BC, where the Vancouver International Airport was, otherwise known as YVR. Well, we hauled air freight into YVR on a regular basis, and most of the air freight that we hauled out of the United States into YVR, it was a very small portion of it was actually staying in Canada, and the rest of it was going to Asia, Europe. We had British Air, Lufthansa, Cathay, lots of different airlines, and Scandinavian, I can't remember what Cargolux. And so anyway, we hauled a lot of freight for those different airlines. Well, when you get to the border, when you go north, when you get to the border, we have shipper export declarations. And so we got a stack of them, probably this thick. I mean, big stack of shipper export declarations. And on those shipper export declarations is what the different commodity is being, what the tariff is for it, so it can be taxed going out of the country. And so at CPB, or CBP, sorry, you have them look it over, and they perf each one saying that, yeah, it looks kosher, ready to grip. Every one of those got like a number. It's like 14 digits of number and letters and garbage that identifies what it is, even though it says on there that it's computer equipment, is what this particular piece of freight said. It was a piece of computer equipment. Even though it just says that, it's got a number, 14 digits, or, you know, I guess at 14, that actually identifies what it is. Well, my driver, John, was going northbound, and he usually crossed the Canadian border about 6 a.m. in the morning. And we did check calls all along the way, because all the freight we had on these trailers was very high dollar. And so we always had check calls. And he gets to the border at 6 a.m. and the border the protection guy, Customs Border Protection, looks at this one SCD and says, there's a problem with this. And he went and pulled the book off the shelf and looked up the number, and it said it was manifested as a computer equipment. And it's like, computer equipment? Yeah, well, you know, it could be anything. There's a lot of computerized stuff, and we hauled a lot of computer equipment. But he looked up the number, and it said it was a missile guidance system is what we were hauling. And this is 1998, and it's manifested as going to Hong Kong. Well, if anybody remembers, or old enough to remember, in 1998 was when Hong Kong reverted back from its 100-year lease that the British had to China. And so it's now going to be Chinese property. And this missile guidance system is going to ultimately end up in China. Well, they arrested John, put him in a little room, and he was trying to talk him into letting him go because he was afraid the rest of his freight was going to be late, which it was going to be because he had a really super tight schedule. And he's like, just keep whatever it is that you're interested in. They didn't even tell him what the problem was. Anyway, it wasn't until noon. We lost John. He never did his check calls. We had no idea what happened to him. He had until 9 o'clock to get unloaded before all of his flights left. And we didn't even hear from him until afternoon. I was calling Canadian Mounties. I was calling the airport, trying to find what happened to my truck and my driver and all of his freight. Well, he called us just after noon, and then he said what the situation happened. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. And I said, so what happened? And I said, well, ultimately happened that they let you go even. And he said, well, from what I understand, he says, they made phone calls all the way up through the whole chain of command, all the way to the Pentagon with the Customs and Border Protection. And when it got to the Pentagon, they sent back to let you go. And I said, oh, okay. So I said, they let you go. That's great. I'm glad they let you go. They let all of the freight go. He goes, yeah, they let the freight go. And I said, but they kept the computer missile guidance system? He goes, no, they let that go too. And I'm like, what? Well, come to find out, from the way I understood it, all right, the Chinese had the ability to aim a missile at the United States and hit the United States, all right? So, I mean, it's like hitting the broadside of a barn. Kind of easy to hit, right? From what I understand, they weren't very accurate. We sent them this particular missile guidance system so that they could be surgically accurate. Doesn't that seem kind of counterintuitive? I'm just saying. Oh, hold on. Just kind of seems counterintuitive to me. But then we found out the president we had at the time had made a lot of money off of the Chinese, and there must have been some kind of deal off of that. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not going to get, that's as close as I'm going to swerve to politics, but all I'm going to say is, I live in an area of the country that has a lot of missile silos buried in the ground. So we're kind of like a target for everybody, because if somebody does a first strike, the first strike is to take out the ability to make a next strike. And we live in an area where there's a lot of strike stuff, Patriot missiles and stuff like that. And my truck may very well have hauled the guidance system that will drop a nuclear bomb on my house. There you go. So, if you don't get video content from the Truck and Tanker Yanker, probably because the Chinese bombed us. And they was able to hit me because my truck hauled the missile guidance system so they could hit my house. You heard it right here from the Truck and Tanker Yanker, all right? No, you didn't hear. You heard it from an anonymous guy who's telling you this story about somebody he doesn't know. I think I read it in Reader's Digest. It was a story I read in the Reader's Digest and in the humor section, I think it was. Yeah, and it wasn't me, and it wasn't anybody I know. It was just pure satire piece, I think is what it was. All right, so I just want to say, take it easy. Keep the shiny side up, the dirty side down. Look on beyond your hood ornament, and don't be a bumper sticker, all right? It just makes you unprofessional. It makes you stand out, and people look at you weird. Like that guy. That guy looks weird. All right. Subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of content. And we're going to keep you updated on when the Russians are landing, all right? And the Chinese. We're going to keep you updated because from what I heard, that they're moving them in shipping containers and they're going to be hitting our beaches anytime soon. All right? So, Truck and Tanker Yanker is going to keep you updated on that. So, hold on and make sure you watch every week to know when the Truck and Tanker Yanker has got a great big crosshair on his house now. That guy, Truck and Tanker Yanker guy. All right? So, I'm just hope I see you in the future. And when I say we gone, I hope it doesn't mean permanent. We gone.